This video is video 1 of a 4-part series looking at how to make high quality silage. Video 1 will start with the steps you need to follow to tailor the nutrition of silage to optimize quality. The first step begins long before any application begins and requires some detailed planning on fertiliser purchases. In order to do this, the field should be sampled on a 5-year rotation. The soil analysis shown on screen gives an analysis with a pH of 6.2, which is target for grassland, along with a phosphorus status of moderate minus and potash status also of moderate minus. This indicates that the soil has sufficient reserves of P and K to allow for offtake to be replaced without the need for additional P and K. Having an up-to-date soil analysis for the fields will allow you to tailor fertiliser applications accurately. Technical note TN726 gives a detailed approach to working out all of the fertiliser requirements for grassland. Nitrogen recommendations are based on location, summer rainfall, and soil type, whereas phosphorus and potash recommendations are based on yield, and sulphur recommendations are based on risk assessment of sulphur deficiency. For conventional first cut silage, a typical nitrogen recommendation would be around 120 kg of nitrogen per hectare. The offtake of phosphate and potash is calculated using standard offtake figures per tonne in TN726 and multiplying them by the expected yield of 18 tonne per hectare. This recommends that an offtake of 31 kg of phosphate per hectare and 108 kg of potash per hectare can be replaced either by bagged fertiliser or by organic manure. In this example, it has been assumed that sulphur is deficient, therefore 40 kg per hectare is required. The nitrogen recommendation assumes that there is sufficient time between applications and cutting to fully utilise all of the applied N. When grass is growing at its optimum, a rule of thumb is that it should utilise 2.5 kg of nitrogen per day. 120 kg of nitrogen per hectare would require 48 days of growth. If working with a multi-cut silage system, this may be a more accurate method of working out the optimum nitrogen recommendation. Nitrogen recommendations are often significantly less than 120 kg due to the frequency of cutting. If cutting every 4 weeks, then a maximum of 70 kg of nitrogen per hectare would be recommended. Care should also be taken to ensure fertiliser recommendations are following NVZ rules. In this example, it has been assumed that sulphur is deficient, therefore 40 kg per hectare is required. Typical organic manure analysis can be found in Technical Note 736, entitled Optimising the Application of Livestock Manures and Slurries. Analysing organic manures is another tool that can help to refine the accuracy of your fertiliser plan. The application rate of 30 metres cubed per hectare will supply 27 kg of nitrogen per hectare, 36 kg of phosphate per hectare, 96 kg of potash per hectare, and 21 kg of sulphur per hectare. This leaves a negative balance required of 93 kg of nitrogen per hectare, 12 kg of potash per hectare, and 19 kg of sulphur per hectare. All of the phosphate requirements are met from the slurry. The recommendation for this crop would therefore be 340 kg per hectare of 27% N plus 7SO3. The potash has not been fully met by this application. However, to reduce the risk of luxury uptake, the NK application in the spring should be restricted to 90 kg per hectare. The deficit of potash can be carried through to be rectified later in the season for either second cut or for grazing. This example has been based on soils being at target status. Crop nutrition should be tailored for deficits of surplus of nutrients found in the soil through soil analysis. If both P and K were found to be very low, then the fertiliser recommendation would be significantly different. The recommendation would then be 580 kg per hectare of triple 16. If the soils were found to be high in P and K, then applications of P and K can be reduced to utilise some of the excess P and K held in the soil reserves. To avoid over-application of organic nutrients, the slurry application rate should be dropped to 20 metres cubed per hectare, and the nitrogen increased to 390 kg per hectare of 27% N plus 7SO3. This should free up slurry to be used elsewhere on the farm, whilst avoiding oversupply of nutrients, which can lead to leaching.